Hey guys, welcome to ES Futures Review. I'm going to go over what went down today on May 19th. I'm going to break down what went down yesterday, Monday as well, and how that played into what we were looking for today for an ideal setup. So, first we'll talk about what went down on Monday. Before I get into that, real quick, real simple. White lines are major levels, orange lines are minor levels. These are levels based on previous price action. White are major, orange are minor. Essentially, usually we're looking for setups close to and nearby major levels. Oftentimes they will coincide exactly with where we're looking for a setup. And then orange lines are great for taking profit and oftentimes can also be triggers as well as back tests that kind of go align with what we're looking for as a setup. So real quick and simple, on Sunday evening we sold out and set this low of 73.75 around 9:30 p.m. So I'm gonna go ahead and set this low right here as a reminder. So a red line shows a clear low of interest. This red line marks something else from last week that was of interest. So anyways, coming into the Monday session, we were looking at some point losing this clear low, this whole cluster of lows, so to speak, and then undercutting it and going back up and going long. Now, I do have some rules I set from years of studying that continue to get tweaked. And as of now on ES futures, if we don't lose this low by 10 points or more, I'm looking for at least 5-point clearance before entering long. So for example, this low right here is 73, 72.50, 25. So I will be looking for 5 points above that. That will be 73.80.25, and that will be my trigger in this case for Monday afternoon's potential setup that we were getting. Now let's go to a 1-minute chart just to see exactly how it played out at that level and how one could have seen if we got the proper setup and to go long or not. So I'm sorry if I'm speaking a little slow. I just want to make sure everyone really gets a hold of what I'm saying. It's been a while since I've been recording a video like this. I've been working a lot on the setups that I have. So here clearly you'll see that we lost the low at 2:50 p.m. yesterday afternoon. We undercut it and then we tried to go through that trigger and then got rejected multiple times. Tried once more, rejected again, and set another quick low before going back up. Before I get excuse me, before I get into the setup, most markets, when they're at or near setup, they're looking to trap. So here we had a quick little trap where we went below that low one more time. Someone could have gotten caught trying to go long off this low with a stop loss below here and then would have been trapped, cut, and then we took off. So this is the initial low being lost. We went back up to the trigger. That's my signal that we're interested in a long. So undercutting the low actually is a signal. Then going to the trigger and then selling is my acceptance. That means that there's some demand here because we came right back down and came back up to it. Now I want to get a trigger, which for me is a couple minutes above the trigger or the low, depending on the setup. So I mentioned to you before, if we don't lose the low by 10 points or more, I want to be 5 points or higher for an entry on ES. That's about 73.80.25. We got the signal, we got the acceptance, clear acceptance before going up. Now, this sucks when this happens, but at 3 o'clock, we shot up $33 exact, 33 points. We closed above here at 3 o'clock, so I want a few minutes of acceptance first. So 1, 2, 3. We didn't really accept until around here. We were already clearly super high up. So now the next method for this madness is we want to try to enter potentially on a pullback close enough to the entry. The way I've looked at this before from studying, now we have our trigger here. Add 5 points to that, and that is about as low as I'd be willing to enter, or I should say high I'd be willing to enter, based off a lot of research and just back testing. Here, unfortunately, we didn't even get close to that buffer zone before pulling back up. So one would have had to enter just on this little bounce right here if they wanted to. The stop loss wouldn't have been too bad. You've been about 20 points away from the low that was set here. So that's usually where we put our stop, at the lowest low. And that would have worked out pretty well for you if you decided to take that. So now going back to today, let's get into what we were looking for and how we approached it. So today coming in, we knew we had a clear low from Monday. That would have been our first setup that we were looking for to enter. And then beyond that, we had another low from last Tuesday right here, that was very significant. It went from about 73.64 all the way up to 75.40. So almost 200 points for that low in a matter of 2 days. And that tells you it's a pretty significant low. So today I was looking for us to lose that low so that I could potentially enter on a nice setup. So let's take a look at how this played out today when we lost the low and how everything worked out afterwards. So it looks like we lost the low around 10:20ish this morning. You can see we undercut it at 10:18 and then started bouncing up and down. I have the trigger for that low setup right here too, 73.68. Let's see how many points below the low we went. 73.63, 73.54. So only 9 points. So I'd want to enter 5 points above the low. Again, this is the low. I'll write down here, Tuesday, May 12 low, so you don't forget. We undercut it, and then we came back to it. We went straight to the trigger twice, actually. You can see we went right to the trigger and sold. That's a signal and acceptance when we go back to it. So you can look at it multiple ways. You can look at it like we lost it here, went right back to the trigger. That's acceptance and signal together. You can look at it like we lost the low initially here. That's our signal that there might be a setup. We went to the trigger, sold. Now I need to go back to the trigger for acceptance. So I think that's the better way to approach it here. So again, we lost the low. I'm interested. We went from the low to the trigger. That's signal that, hey, this could be a setup. We lost. We sold from the trigger, which is perfect. Came back to the trigger, which is now accepted. And then from there, I'd want to enter once we can close above the trigger for a few minutes. You can see we tried here, and I want to be above the low clearly without going below it at all. We clearly did not stay above it 3 minutes based on my parameters at all here. We lost the low again, set another new low. Still interested in the same setup here. One could enter this multiple ways if they wanted to. You have a low here now of nearly 20 points. So 5 points above this low is 61.25. Now, if you're interested in that, you could do that. That can be a little dicey sometimes. That closed above at 10:56. We got a few minutes above by 11 o'clock. So one could have entered somewhere around here, and that would have worked great for 10 points. Now, going back to the original setup that I'm still looking for, it's kind of more the, I would say more of a higher time frame setup, just because of that significant low was a couple hundred points. This was only 20 or so. And again, I'm waiting for a close above for a few minutes, and I finally got that at 11:05. You can see we finally closed above it and stayed above it for 1, 2, 3 minutes, even another minute on top. So now at any point, I'm interested in entering this setup. Once we came down a little bit here, I decided to enter. My stop loss was below here, so it's about only 13 points below. Not that bad. And then within a minute, it started to work. I entered around 67, came up right to 77. I probably took some profit off a couple points above. I was okay with 7, 8 points. At that point, we came back down, came close to the low, and then set up again. One could have easily entered more here. It's a classic setup, going, triggering, going one level up, coming down, nearly losing the low before going ramping back up. Then we just consolidated around that area for a while. One could have entered multiple times here. Once I noticed how much we were consolidating here, and then we had a little quick dip right here around 12 o'clock, I decided to enter one more contract when we pushed through and sat above at 12.16. So that worked out great. Took some up here on the second level up, and that was today. Sorry for the long explanation. Just trying to get back into the groove of things. This is ES futures. We did a liquidity sweep today from Tuesday, May 12th low. It was really picture perfect. It allowed for multiple entries. It allowed for some lower risk entries. And then we went up a significant amount, almost 50 points before selling back down, which is almost more than you can ask for. Have a great day. I'll be back with some more reviews, guys. Thank you.